Some horror movies get all the attention. These are the ones that slipped under the radar. If you want creepy atmosphere, wild concepts, and horror films that deserve way more love, here are 7 underrated horror movies you probably missed. Wrong Turn. If you skipped Wrong Turn because you thought it was just another empty reboot, it might surprise you. This version takes the setup people recognize and turns it into something that feels harsher, more grounded, and more uncomfortable than expected. It still has the brutality horror fans want, but what makes it stand out is the way it builds tension through isolation, power, and the fear of being trapped in someone else's rules. It is mean, intense, and much smarter than a lot of people gave it credit for.
On which a new nation would be built.
From every mound, let freedom ring.
Bloody Hell. Bloody Hell is one of those horror movies that feels instantly different. It is violent, weirdly funny, and full of personality in a way that makes it really hard to compare to anything else. What makes it work is the energy. The movie moves fast, the lead performance is extremely entertaining, and the whole thing embraces its dark sense of humor without losing the danger. If you like horror that feels twisted but still wildly fun, this is the kind of hidden gem that is easy to recommend.
If you can't undo those knots by dawn, it's gonna be big trouble in Little Finland.
Psycho Goreman. Psycho Goreman is perfect for horror fans who want something completely unhinged. It mixes sci-fi, gore, comedy, and creature feature chaos into one movie that knows exactly how ridiculous it is. But the reason it works is because it is not random. It has a real style, memorable practical effects, and a tone that feels lovingly handmade. This is the kind of movie that feels like a cult favorite the second you watch it. If you miss horror that is creative, messy, and proudly strange, this one is a blast.
She will enslave the galaxy into endless servitude. Kill him!
Cool.
The Clovehitch Killer. The Clovehitch Killer is much quieter than most horror movies on this list, but that is exactly why it gets under your skin. It does not rely on loud scares or nonstop violence. Instead, it builds dread through suspicion, family tension, and the terrifying possibility that evil could be hiding inside an ordinary life. The movie feels patient and controlled, and that makes every discovery hit harder. If you like disturbing, slow-burn horror with a true crime kind of tension, this is a seriously underrated watch. Last Shift. Last Shift proves that you do not need a huge budget to make horror effective. Most of the movie takes place in one location, but it uses that space so well that it starts to feel genuinely cursed. The film keeps piling on unease, strange details, and escalating fear until the whole thing becomes deeply unnerving. What makes it hit is the commitment. It does not play safe, and it keeps the atmosphere heavy from beginning to end. If you love contained horror that slowly turns into a nightmare, this one absolutely deserves more attention.
My master, my king.
I'm not ashamed of what I do.
The Taking of Deborah Logan. The Taking of Deborah Logan starts like a familiar found footage setup, but it becomes far more disturbing than most people expect. The movie is scary on a surface level, but what really gives it power is the emotional discomfort underneath it. It taps into fear, confusion, and the pain of watching someone change in ways you cannot control. Then it keeps pushing further into something darker and more horrifying. For a lot of horror fans, this is one of the strongest found footage movies of the last decade, and it absolutely earns that reputation.
She's gonna die.
The Blackcoat's Daughter. At number 1, The Blackcoat's Daughter. This is the kind of horror movie that stays with you because it feels cold, lonely, and deeply unsettling from the very first scene.
It is not trying to overwhelm you with noise. It works through mood, dread, and a slow sense that something is terribly wrong. The atmosphere is incredible, the storytelling feels hypnotic, and the movie trusts you to sit with the discomfort instead of constantly explaining itself. If you love horror that feels intimate, haunting, and quietly devastating, this is one of the best underrated films you can watch.
Catherine.
Which one of these underrated horror movies do you think deserves way more attention? And if you know another hidden horror gem that people keep sleeping on, drop it in the comments. Like, subscribe, and follow Movie Glow for more horror picks, hidden gems, and watch lists worth saving.